Hi, my name is Susanna, and I'm an emotional intelligence expert and coach. I founded EQ for Kids with a mission. I want to help you connect with your children in a more meaningful way when it matters most in the early years. I also want to empower you with tools and techniques that you can take and use in your home so that you can thrive in your relationships. And I'm so excited today to introduce to you our new monthly video series on different EQ skills and topics from EQ for Kids. And our first topic today is how to bounce back in 2022 with resilience. So, it's officially been 2 years since this pandemic started. And maybe we all felt resilient at the start of it. We've adapted our lives as the bad news kept rolling in. We've told ourselves, I've got this. We've told each other it'll be over soon, you know. And like many of you watching this video, I've also had to adapt my lifestyle to working from home. And it's been rough. And to be honest, I feel like I've been in survival mode for the last 2 years straight. And to be extra vulnerable with you, sustaining this resilience has started to wear on me. I am more overwhelmed and exhausted than ever. Feels like my resilience tank is running low. So, how about you? Are you in this worn out boat with me? If you've been in survival mode like me and could use an emotional immune system boost, then this video is for you. If you're a parent, a teacher, a nanny, or anyone who works with children, you have inspired this information that I'm going to share with you today. So to get the most out of this video, you're going to want to grab the free PDF in the link below. You can download it completely free. Today, I'm going to walk you through what resilience means and what the problem with developing it in children really is. We'll also learn about the brain science behind our tricky emotions, and make sure that you stay until the end because I'm going to give you some practical tools and some scripts that you can use and you can follow along with. So if you've got your free PDF, you've got your pencil ready to go, let's get started and let's flex our resilience muscles in 2022. Resilience has become a buzzword lately in the media, but what is it all about? So, the definition of resilience is the ability to cope with and recover quickly from difficult situations. Or, in other words, it's our elasticity, oh, our ability to spring back into action. Woo! It's how we pick ourselves up after we've fallen down and our inner strength to be able to deal with and manage stress in the moment. So, now that you know the meaning of resilience, I have a question for you. Are children born resilient? We often label children as resilient and strong, and we see them overcoming hardship more easily than we might. But is it something that they're born with, or is it something that they learn? We know that resilience, or the ability to bounce back, is the key to a successful life. I love this quote. It's not the strongest of the species that survives or the most intelligent. It's the most adaptable to change. But in reality, rather than looking at children as they should be able to simply bounce back from hardships, it's more helpful to think of it as a life skill that needs to be learned and developed from an early age. So the key here is to replace your shoulds with skills. And isn't this an empowering thought that resilience is something that can be learned at any age? With effort and practice, we can all learn to bounce back. So if it's a skill that can be developed, then why is it so difficult with children? Well, it has to do with how we would normally respond when children get frustrated or angry. We have good intentions, parents, teachers, nannies. When we're working with kids, we don't want to see them struggle. We don't want to see them fail. We want to protect them from these tricky emotions like worry and frustration and anxiety, right? So we try to protect them from hardship and failure. In fact, I hear a lot of parents saying things like, I don't like to see you upset, or it makes me sad when you're sad. Um, in trying to protect them, we're actually dismissing their emotions by saying things like this. We too often jump quickly into solving their problem for them, or trying to fix them, or trying to take away their challenge. But in fixing, we are showing them that they're broken, right? So it sends kids this confusing, conflicting message that, what I'm feeling is wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. And I can't really trust my feelings and my reality. So in the end, children don't learn these self-regulation skills. They don't feel competent enough to do it on their own. So in our efforts to protect our kids with good intention, right, we're actually taking away their opportunity to learn and to practice the skills of resilience. Now I'd like to show you a short, just 1 minute video clip. And as you're watching, try to think about, why do you think I might be showing you this? What is the lesson here? And then what is your emotional response? How does it make you feel watching this? And you can even push pause on the video so that you can write it down on your paper, or maybe you can type your comment below. I'd love to see what you think. So enjoy this clip.
Help! Mama! Mama, help! Mama, help! Mama, help, please! I need you! Mama, help! Mama! Good now. I hear you too, Mama. You're right there.
Yes, I am.
Why are you crying, Mama?
Because I'm happy.
So I hope you enjoyed that quick movie clip from the movie Ray, and I hope that you thought about what it means to you. And now we're going to jump into the fun part, my favorite, the brain science behind our emotions and our thoughts. So if you're ready, I'd like you to also draw this image on your worksheet in front of you. So let's imagine that the structure of our brain is a house. The upstairs brain is made up of the prefrontal cortex, which is in charge of our executive functioning skills, our higher level thinking skills. In other words, how we plan, how we make decisions, how we problem solve. It controls our impulses, and even it has to do with creativity, imagination, and empathy. Our upstairs brain we can think of as our thinking brain. Okay. And then On the lower level of our house is our downstairs brain. And this is our amygdala and our limbic system and even the brainstem, which controls our more automatic survival functions. It includes things like breathing, blinking, all of these bodily functions that we don't even have to think about. And then even our emotional responses sit in our downstairs brain, including our deepest fears, love, and anger, which includes our fight, flight, or freeze response. So when we are in our upstairs brain, we can think before we act or speak, right? We can even consider other people's perspectives. We can focus. We can think with logic and reason. But the reality is that this prefrontal cortex is still heavily, heavily under construction in children, even up until our mid-20s. And when we're triggered, our emotional brain or our downstairs takes over our thinking brain. And then when our downstairs brain takes over, we act before we think. We can really only see our problem from our point of view. We might argue or scream or yell. This is the fight, flight, freeze response in our brain. And ultimately, we're not in control of our body or our emotional reactions. So when this happens, our prefrontal cortex is totally offline. Our EQ needs time to develop to keep the communication going between the two. That is what emotional intelligence means. It's the marriage of our emotional and our thinking brain. So when kids start to say things like, oh, I just can't do this, it's too hard, I made a mistake, and I just give up, right? This is coming from their downstairs brain. It's the underlying feelings of frustration, inadequacy, too much pressure, etc. So it's not helpful to respond by saying, yeah, of course you can do it. Just try a different way, because their thinking brain is offline. This is not the time to rationalize with them. They are in an emotionally heated moment. So rather than, thinking that they should be able to keep going or bounce back, it's more helpful to think that they're struggling with a skill that they haven't yet developed. Resilience, right? So in a moment like this, if you're a parent and your child is saying, oh, I just can't do this, it's too hard, and they get emotionally frustrated, right? Check in with yourself. Is your response to their negative self-talk coming from a fear that you're not doing a good job as a parent? Or is it coming from, I don't want to see my child have these hard feelings? And that's okay. That's a normal human response, but we need to really shift our mindset here. So what might this mindset shift look like? Well, it means getting comfortable with your kids' uncomfortable feelings. Just practice giving them the gift of your presence, sitting with them in their frustration, in their anger, in their worry, and holding that space for them to process those difficult feelings. And that despite their struggle, you believe that they can and will become resilient. Your belief in them will empower them to keep going even when it gets rough. So for your kids, it's helpful to teach them the brain science behind their fear and their worry and their stress. To teach them that fear is actually trying to help them. So make fear your friend. Hold its hand through the challenges, because the only way out is through, right? So feel the fear and then do it anyways. Teach them that we can't really be brave without feeling fear. All right, so let's jump into my top 3 tips for instilling resilience. Tip number 1 is to let your kids struggle. Yes, struggle. And sometimes even fail. Because after all, fail stands for the first attempt in learning. And at all cost, avoid rescuing them from the struggle, because especially when it's something that's age appropriate or that that they can do. So why should we let our kids struggle? Well, it leads to growth. The first reason is that struggle is an essential part of growth. We can see this in nature all around us. And if we only engage in activities that come easy to us, we're not stretching ourselves. And if we don't stretch ourselves, we will never reach our full potential. And it's been shown that children who have a growth mindset towards their learning accept their mistakes and bounce back from challenges more easily. The second reason why it's important to let kids struggle is that it teaches emotional self-regulation skills. How cool is this? Struggle results in emotions like frustration, sadness, disappointment, sometimes even anger. We should accept all these feelings without judging them and learn coping strategies to help us navigate the tricky ones, right? So by providing opportunities to fail and make mistakes in a safe environment, this builds your kids' frustration tolerance and impulse control. With you as their strong and sturdy leader, knowing that they can do hard things. The third reason why we should let kids struggle is because it builds problem-solving skills. Throughout this process of struggling, children can develop creative new ways how to solve their problems. Without this struggle, children will never encounter problems to work through. So don't take them away. You can do both at the same time. You can first validate their emotions, and second, let them struggle, make mistakes, and fail. Okay. So now that you know why it's absolutely vital to let kids struggle, let's learn 2 more of my top tips that build resilience with some scripts that you can use. Tip number 2 is change your language. Show your kids that you're curious and you care about their inner world, their thoughts, and their feelings. So frustrated kids often say bold statements like, "Oh, I'll never get this. I'm so stupid. I give up." Rather than responding to their negative self-talk with, "Don't say that. Of course you can." We must first acknowledge the feeling underneath their words, which is connecting with their downstairs brain. And once they're calm, then we can guide them to problem solve, which activates their upstairs brain. So start by speaking to their emotions like this. "I understand why you're feeling frustrated. I would be too." You can even guide them to use a coping strategy like some deep breathing or meditation. And then once everyone's calm, you can say, "I'm here with you. What seems to be the hardest part right now? Okay, what's the next right step here?" You can build them up, showing that you trust their capability to bounce back. "I know this is hard, but I also know that you can do hard things." Remember, the way that we speak to our kids becomes their inner voice. Another great, simple question to try is, I love this one, what's the hard part? So imagine that your child has their first day of school tomorrow. You could say something like, "You're pacing up and down the hall. Your brows are all scrunched up like this. I can tell you're feeling worried about tomorrow. What seems to be the hardest part right now?" So once your child's able to identify the hardest part, then you can help them manage to break it down into smaller steps that they can do. Then ask your child, what do they think that they could do to fix this hard part, right? Try not to give them the answer, even if you have to guide them on their way to it. So helping your child find the hard part and navigate a way to overcome their challenge is a really powerful way to teach them resilience. Tip number 3 for instilling resilience is teach your kids to ask for help. Asking for help is not the same as giving up. It's actually a super smart strategy to solve a problem. So yes, resilience does create superhero kids, but even superheroes need help sometimes. Asking for help shows strength. How to do this? Well, you can give them the words to use to make it really easy. "I was doing my best work here on my math, but I got stuck. Could you help me keep going?" Right? We all need help sometimes, even mom and dad. So to model this skill, you can even ask them to help you. right? When it's appropriate. This helps instill trust and respect in your relationship. So something like, I read these instructions over and over again how to build this puzzle, but I'm still confused. Could you help explain it to me in a different way? Or for younger kids, you can get them involved in tasks around the house, like, I love the way that you take care of the plants. Would you mind helping me water that one today? Or for older kids, they love to help with technology. We all love to feel like we're playing a role and contributing to others, even kids.
This math is just too hard. I can't do it. I give up.
I know you're feeling frustrated right now, and that makes sense. I'd feel frustrated too. This math is pretty tricky. But you know what? You can do tricky things. You can do hard things, and I'm right here with you. Let's see, what's the next right step?
Mommy, did you hear that?
Theo, are you scared?
No, I can't sleep. I'm so scared of the dark. Can you stay with me tonight?
Do you feel scared of the dark? I know, I get it. It can be scary sometimes. But you know what? You're safe and you can be brave. I'm right here and you can have your stuffed animal, or do you want a nightlight tonight? To sum it all up, we develop resilience through experience. The more we face challenges head on, we learn to tolerate our tricky emotions and problem solve, the more we believe in our ability to bounce back. And it's no different with children. What they need from the adults around them is our presence, our belief that they will grow through the struggle, and our willingness to accept all their tricky feelings, letting them know that they're safe and supported along the way. And as Paul Tuff says in his book on how children succeed, it's so much more powerful for a child to be able to deal with adversity and overcome it. What the child takes from that experience is, hey, I can solve things. So join me. Let's start this new year with an intention to strengthen our resilience muscles and bounce back with a bang in 2022. If you enjoyed our video today, please like and subscribe to EQ for Kids. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And if you're a parent who'd like to learn more about my customized emotional intelligence program, that's my heart, that's my jam, you can schedule a free consultation with me to see if it's a good fit on my website, www.eqforkids.co. See you next time. Bye.